everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a first impressions video on the Urban Decay Naked Skin Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer. It's such a long name. This retails at £17.50 and you can buy it from Selfridges, House of Fraser I believe, Debenhams and of course urbandecay.co.uk. My shade is in Fair Neutral, so it'd be really interesting to see how this shade matches my skin. I am at NW10 in foundation for reference, so pretty fair. I'm just looking at the Urban Decay website right now just to look at the product description and see what this claims to do. So basically it says that it's an ultra lightweight complete coverage concealer and it dries down to a luminous demi matte finish, which is basically the same as the Naked Skin foundation. That kind of dries down to a demi matte, but it has a slight luminosity to it. It claims to hide even the most scandalous flaws. Well, I have some acne going on at the moment, some nice big old red spots, so it'd be really interesting to see how it covers those. It claims to feel ultra lightweight, like a second skin, so basically you're not supposed to really feel like you've got a heavy cakey concealer on your skin as well. And it claims not to settle into fine lines. So what I'm going to do with this in order to test that out is I'm going to apply concealer to my under eye area and I'm going to set one under eye area and then leave the other to see whether this really does settle into fine lines or not. It also claims to have Japanese green tea, which helps to revitalize and helps to reduce the appearance of fine lines by giving a brighter and more radiant complexion. And then we've got quite a big claim here from Urban Decay where it claims to help improve the skin's youthful appearance and elasticity. I imagine that's something that would happen over time, so that's not really something I'm going to be able to talk about in a first impression. So from reading that product description, the things that I really want to look at is whether this is a truly lightweight formula, whether it really does settle into fine lines, how luminous it is, how brightening it is, how it dries down, is it a demi-matte finish, and also how well it's going to cover my blemishes as well. So this is how the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer looks. I'm sure you already know. It has been out for quite some time now. It's basically like a miniature vial of the Naked Skin foundation. It's also kind of like a similar packaging to the MAC Pro Longwear, except MAC Pro Longwear comes with a pump and this comes with a doe foot applicator. So let's open this up right now. So here is the applicator. And just from looking at this shade, this looks like it's going to match me quite well. It looks very, very fair. So if this matches me well and doesn't oxidize, I would say that I wish 0.5 from the Naked Skin foundation range was more like this shade, because that is slightly too dark for me. I have to blend it down my neck really well or mix it in with a white foundation. So I'm going to apply the concealer with a doe foot applicator under my eyes, and then for my blemishes, because these are kind of active right now, I'm just going to place some concealer on my hand and then dot it onto my face with my fingers, just so I don't contaminate the applicator, because that would suck. Okay, so let's start applying this. I'm just going to go in a triangular shape. Okay, yeah, this is really, really light. This almost reminds me of Chantilly from the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. So I've just placed that on in like a triangular shape. And let's do the same for this side. Yeah, I wish 0.5 was like this. I feel like this is a really good highlighting shade for fair skin, but we'll see when we blend it in. So I'm just going to start patting that in. See how it blends. Okay, it takes hardly any effort to blend this. It just pretty much melts into the skin. And it does feel very lightweight. It doesn't really feel like I've put anything on my skin. A tiny bit over my eyes. I'm really, really liking this shade. It's a great highlight shade for fair skin if you really want to brighten up that under eye area. And you all know, if you do have fair skin, that it can be really hard to find a concealer like that. Something like Chantilly from NARS is a great one, but I do find that that can crease under my eyes and it does feel kind of creamy and heavy. So that's the only issue I have with the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. So what I'm going to do is I'm just taking my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder and I'm going to set my left eye with this. and then I'm not going to set this right eye. One thing I have already noticed is in like my deep, like right under my eyes where I do have some like little crinkles from where my eye fold is, I do see it kind of settling into there and creasing a little bit. But I'm going to leave it like that and see how it goes throughout the day, because it might just stay like that or it could get worse, who knows. So it's not actually too bad. I feel like you have to get really close to notice. So let me just zoom you in on the under eye area. So that is the eye that I've set, and then this is the eye that I haven't set. I'm not sure if you're going to tell here, there's just a tiny bit of creasing going on around here. That doesn't bother me too much though, because I do tend to usually put eyeshadow there, so you wouldn't see that anyway. I think today I'm going to avoid putting eyeshadow onto my lower lash line, just to see how it goes throughout the day, and also to see if it creases anywhere else on my under eye area. Right, the next thing we're going to do is see how well it covers these blemishes. So I'm just going to take that doe foot applicator, just patting that on the back of my hand, in my finger, and then dot this onto those blemishes. Right, let's just start patting that in with the beauty blender. This is so effortless to blend. I'm really impressed with it. It does cover the blemishes pretty well. I mean, these are really big acne scars, so I mean they're not going to completely disappear, and I can still see a little bit of redness kind of right on the tips of them. Sounds so gross, but I'm pretty impressed with the way it's applied. I have noticed I have to apply a couple of coats. I wouldn't say that it completely covers them and camouflages them like something like the NARS Radiant Creamy. You can obviously still see my blemishes. Let me zoom you in again. Around here, but it has just taken some of the redness down. It has covered the smaller blemishes really well and completely camouflaged those. But if you do have acne prone skin, or you're suffering from some severe breakouts like me at the moment, then I don't feel like it covers them completely, but it does just take that redness down, and it does overall make your skin look better. I would agree that this makes my skin look really luminous. I would agree that it is a demi matte finish and it is ultra lightweight, and I really like the way this has brightened up my under eye area. I just feel like it makes me look nice and wide awake, and I'm really impressed with the shade as well. So just to give you a comparison, this is the foundation in 0.5 and this is the Fair Neutral Concealer, and as you can see, the foundation is very yellow and very warm. It matches my face okay, but as soon as I start to try and take it down my neck, which is as pale as anything, then it starts to look very yellowy on me. Okay, so the time is nearly 1:45. I'm on a bit of a late one today because the lighting was a bit crappy this morning, to be honest. And I'm going to go about my day. I'm going to go for a nice long walk in this very humid weather and see how this concealer holds up, and I'll be back to talk to you in a few hours. Just a little side note, I can already see on this right eye some creasing and some settling into my fine lines. But we will see how it holds up throughout the rest of the day, and I will see you in a few hours, or for you guys like in a second, but yeah. Right, I am back for a quick check-in. The time is now 10 to 6, so I've had this on for just over 4 hours now, and my my camera battery is flashing at me, so I'm going to make this quick. I haven't actually noticed anything major going on so far. I have noticed with this eye, I do feel like it has creased a little bit, but nothing too major. But I feel like the eye that I set with that Secret Brightening Powder does look better. So I think I would definitely want to set this concealer. It still feels really lightweight. You can't really tell that you've got it on. It doesn't feel cakey. It doesn't make my skin look dry or anything like that. And I feel like my blemishes are still quite well covered. I don't feel like they've changed that much since 4 hours ago. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go for a nice long walk in this lovely humid heat, and I will be back to check in a couple of hours. Okay, I am back for my final check-in. It is nearly 7:45 in the evening, so I've been wearing this concealer for a good 6 hours now. We didn't end up going for a walk in the end because it started raining, which is just typical for British weather, but I did end up going to do some food shopping. So it's been a couple of hours now since I last checked in. So let me just grab my mirror and have a good look. I feel like after 6 hours it still looks really nice and brightened under the eye area. I'm still really impressed with how it's covered those blemishes. Like I said, you can still see like the redness on the very tips of like the bumps, and these are very big blemishes to cover, but again, it hasn't worn off anywhere, so that's really nice and impressive. Let me just show you what I mean here. So as you can see, it still pretty much looks the same and it hasn't caked up or anything like that, so I'm pretty impressed with that. And I'm just really impressed with how it has brightened the eyes. I do feel like maybe it's oxidized slightly, but I don't feel like it's gone like really yellow or anything like that, because it was very pale to begin with. So even though it's oxidized, I still feel like it acts as like a highlighting, brightening concealer under my eyes at least. So that's really good. So I'm just going to go back to the list of claims on the product description. So one of the things it claims to be is ultra lightweight, and I definitely agree with that. It is a lightweight formula. It blends in like a dream, like it just melts into the skin. So I was really impressed with the formula, and I definitely agree it is a demi matte finish. So it has like a slight luminosity to it, which I feel like you can see more on this side because this is the eye that I didn't set with powder. So that's just my highlighter there, but I do feel like this eye looks more matte because I set it with powder, and that's still got the demi matte finish. I would say that this is a medium to full coverage concealer. I do feel like you can build it up to be full coverage. I feel like it did fully cover my smaller blemishes on my face, but the bigger blemishes still peeking through, but they look way better, and they've just taken that redness down. So again, I'm pretty impressed with that. Now, one of the things I have noticed here, which I didn't notice earlier, and I kind of wish I did, is that it does say for complete coverage, you can keep building this product. So no matter how much you apply, it always blends beautifully and won't settle into fine lines. Now, although I did place quite a good amount under my eyes, I didn't then add a second coat because I didn't really feel like I needed to. So I wish I saw that, because maybe I would have. But I did tend to build it up around here, and I will agree that it didn't cake up or anything. As far as not creasing into fine lines, it actually hasn't creased into like my little fine lines here that are barely visible anyway, but just this little fold under my eye, I do feel like it has kind of settled into there very slightly, and nothing crazy. Like, I feel like it settled into there first and it hasn't got any worse throughout the day. So like I say, it's nothing too intense or crazy like some concealers where I just feel like they can make you look really crepey and older than you are. So I do feel like on my set side, you don't get the settling. So I'm just going to zoom you in again. So I don't know if you guys can see what I mean here, but it is just very slightly. It's nothing crazy at all. And then here is the set side, where I just feel like, I mean, you can still see the folds, but nothing's really settled into those lines. So again, I'm really impressed with that. I do feel like you could definitely benefit with a setting powder, especially if you are prone to creasing from concealers. I find that I'm not extremely prone to it. Like, I can wear MAC Pro Longwear without a setting powder and it's absolutely fine. MAC Pro Longwear is one of my favourite go-to concealers of all time, but if I wear something like Collections concealer and the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, I always forget the name of that, the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, I do feel like I benefit more from setting it with a powder. So I would say if you really don't want that kind of like settling in the lines, definitely set it with a powder. The Laura Mercier is one of my favourite powders, the Secret Brightening, and you won't necessarily get that. But I will say, if I wanted more of a luminous look like I feel like I have on this side, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I definitely feel like it's more luminous on this eye. I'm just looking in the viewfinder. I feel like I could kind of live with that, especially as it usually I would put eyeshadow under there, and I do take my eyeshadow quite low anyway, so I don't think you'd really notice that anyway. So I do feel like I could get away with not setting this with a powder, especially if I wanted that luminous glowy look. And I purposefully didn't put eyeshadow under there just so I could see how it creased under the whole eye, if that makes sense. Now, as far as improving the skin's youthful appearance, that's not something I can really talk about in general, because I feel like that, I know I'm taking that as something that happens over time, but what I can say is it definitely makes my skin look more luminous and youthful, if that makes sense. So first impressions, I'm really impressed. Like, this could be my new favourite concealer. I have a special place in my heart for the MAC Pro Longwear, so you know, we might have to give this a few goes before I finally decide that, but I feel like it could definitely be up there. I think the packaging is very lovely, very sleek. I like that it's a mini version of the Naked Skin. I just think that's a really cute idea, and it's, you know, great for travel and everything. Did I say how many ounces came in here? So in terms of product, you get 5ml of product in this concealer, and then in the NARS Radiant Creamy you get 6ml, so you do get slightly more in the NARS Radiant Creamy. I haven't got my MAC Pro Longwear here to compare to, but I still feel like that's a good amount of product, and to be honest, a little goes a long way, although you can build this up. I did put a fair amount under my eyes, and I did build up around these areas with the blemishes, and like I say, it hasn't caked up at all, and it still looks really, really good. I'm really impressed. Nothing's really budged, so I haven't really got anything bad to say about this apart from the slight creasing. So I'm going to keep on using this, and you'll probably see me using it in future videos, and if I've noticed anything or if I change my mind about anything, I'll be sure to point that out in those videos just to let you guys know. But so far I'm really, really impressed with this. I really, really love it, and I love the shade, even though I do feel like it maybe has slightly oxidized, but it still looks nice and brightening. So it hasn't oxidized to the point where it looks really dark and yellow under the eyes. I still feel like it looks really nice and bright, and it covers my dark circles really nicely. So that's all I'm really looking for in a concealer, and the fact that it doesn't crease horrendously on me. As usual, if you have any questions, please leave them down below and I will be sure to answer them as best I can in order to help you guys out. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you have a great day wherever you guys are, and I'll see you in my next video.